Hi. Hopefully you found a little time to create some musical ideas using the notes from a C major triad. And don't forget to experiment with these ideas in different keys. Okay, the purpose of this session is to expand on our knowledge of triads and explore another musical term, something called an arpeggio. So let's get started. The word arpeggio, which literally means broken chord, comes from the Italian language and has evolved from the Italian word arpeggiare, which means harp-like. If you imagine a harpist would sweep and play either up or down for a sequence of notes, due to the nature of their instrument, we'd hear these notes sustain or ring out over each other, but fundamentally every note in the sequence is played individually. The notes we'd use to construct and play an arpeggio are the chord tones of any scale. Okay, now, I can already hear you saying, so what then is the big difference between an arpeggio and a chord? Well, a chord is when we play the chord tones of a scale together at the same time, and an arpeggio is when we play the chord tones individually in sequence, either up or down. As it happens, playing and making use of arpeggios is the perfect tool for the bass player, as it allows us to outline the sound of any chord by just playing one note at a time. Seeing as we've been learning about the C major scale, let's learn how to play a C major arpeggio. We've learned that in order to play an arpeggio, we just have to play the chord tones in sequence. So, to play a C major arpeggio, all we need to know are the chord tones from a C major chord. And, luckily for us, we already do. As we discovered in the last session, these are the notes C, E and G, and that's our C major triad. In its basic form, playing up and down through these notes creates a C major arpeggio. But to better hear the sound of this particular arpeggio, I'd like us to also include an octave C. So now we have the notes C, which is our root note, the major third, E, the fifth, G, and going on to our octave C here. Let's just get this sequence of notes under our fingers. So play along with me, and for now we'll just go up through the chord tones, returning back to the low root note each time we repeat. I'll repeat the sequence 4 times. So, after 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, next, let's use the same notes, but this time we'll descend through the arpeggio, starting on the octave C. Again, I'll repeat the sequence 4 times. After 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Finally, let's put all this together now and play up and down through the C major arpeggio. So, starting on the root note of C, we'll go up like this to our octave, and then starting from the octave, go straight back down the arpeggio and return to the low C. Okay. Play along with me and we'll repeat the C major arpeggio up and down 4 times. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Well done. Remember that this shape on the fingerboard will always spell out a major arpeggio. As we were starting those exercises from the root note of C, we were playing a C major arpeggio. So, if we were to move our root note up to, say, an E and recall this shape, we could quite easily play an E major arpeggio. Now, as always, something that I strongly encourage you to do is learn how to play these techniques in different ways. So, here's another shape or position on the fingerboard that you can use to play a major arpeggio. Here's the first way we learnt. And notice how this particular shape forces you to cross the fingerboard. This time, however, I'm going to change where I choose to play the major third, which is the note of E. Instead of using the 2nd fret on the D string, I'm going to play it on the 7th fret of the A string here. If you remember from the last session, both of these positions are the interval of a major third up from our root note of C. C to an E, and also a C to an E like this. By choosing to play the major third here and completing the remaining notes in our C major arpeggio, notice how this time we're actually playing up the neck as well as across it. By using just my index and little fingers to play up this new shape of the major arpeggio, see how this time I'm able to finish on the octave C using my index finger. By doing this alone, I've opened up another area of the neck, and I've now got these fingers available to fret notes that are further up. Using this new shape, we can now quite easily expand our C major arpeggio beyond the octave like this. So, from the root of C, we go up a major third on the same string using our little finger to fret the E, then fret the G on the 5th fret of the D string using our index finger, and rolling the index finger across onto the next string up, we land on the octave C. Okay, from here we can go up beyond the octave and up another major third, in this case 4 frets up, to a high E, this time on the 9th fret of the G string like this. So the whole sequence sounds like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. For you to practice these concepts in your own time, I've put the loop of a C major chord with drums at the end of this session. Always remember that scales and arpeggios should never be constrained to a 1-octave range, and learning how to think and play beyond these often limiting boundaries is something well worth practicing. What I'd like you to work on in your own time is playing up and down a major arpeggio all over the neck. Pick a root note and then try using the shapes we've just covered to play different major arpeggios. As you play through them, say the note names out loud to really reinforce your learning. Try creating some musical ideas using different major arpeggios, and then try combining these with any ideas you've created using the notes from the major scale. And remember, these ideas are based solely on what you want to hear, and not what I've shown you how to play. So congratulations, you're already taking the first steps in finding your own musical voice. I'll see you next time.